Okay, I am on my way back home from looking at this tractor. This trip was a total flop. This tractor was not what I thought it was going to be. Very deceiving from the pictures that I've seen. First thing I noticed when I pulled on the lot, it wasn't sitting outside. They had it inside in the shop. Now, of course, they did know I was coming, but it's not like it's 20 degrees outside and raining or snowing. The sun's out, it's 55 degrees. I didn't understand why they put it inside. The sales manager, when I was talking to him, gave me a little bit of background history of the tractor. As I was walking around looking at it, first thing that I noticed was this tractor's beat all the crap. Whoever had it before didn't appreciate it a bit. The fenders were beat all up. There was a hole in the hood, the fiberglass hood. And if that hole was in the pictures, I didn't see it. I missed it. But the fenders were rusted out at the bottom so bad that they had run bolts through the fenders into the roll guard to help hold them on. So there was going to be a lot of cosmetic stuff that needed to be done to the tractor. Now that doesn't make it a bad tractor. I drove it outside. It was an 8-speed transmission, went through all 8 gears. It did shift relatively good, fairly smooth. I put the tractor in road gear, bared down on both brakes, eased the clutch out. The clutch didn't slip any. What I did notice from the time I started the tractor, the whole time I was driving the lot, there was a lot of chatter down around the clutch housing. So it's my guess, throwout bearing was going bad in that tractor, so that means it's going to have to be split. The loader was a little sluggish going up and down. Keep in mind, it's a smaller tractor, smaller hydraulic pump. It's not going to have the gallon per minute pressure that a bigger tractor like what I'm used to running would have. But to me, it was just a little slow. So that could be something as simple as having smaller cylinders on the loader itself, all the way up to the hydraulic pump, and the tractor could be going bad. Front end was tight. The tie rod ends were going to need to be replaced sometime in the near future. I don't know if that would have caused much shimmying going down the road. At that point, I didn't get to drive around, out on the highway, obviously. But just a little odd end maintenance things. But that's the least of it. As I was driving around out on the lot, I happened to look off to the right side up at the engine, and I noticed that the fan was not turning. Took it back, pulled it in the shop, told the salesman, I said, "Did you know the fan wasn't turning on this engine?" He said, "No." So we take a few shields off the side, get to looking, and the fan was wedged up against the radiator shroud. Now, you would have thought that the minute I started that tractor up, that fan belt would have been screaming at me, but it wasn't. So that tells me the clutch pack on the fan, it doesn't burn up. So whoever took that radiator off the last time, when they put it back together, either didn't know what they were doing or they didn't care more. So at that point, I'm done with this tractor. I did tell him, I said, "You've got another one out here on the lot that I seen when I pulled in. I'd like to go take a look at it." It was a little Case IH C50. Now those little tractors have Perkins diesel engines in them. Really good engines, in my opinion. Some of you may disagree. But we've owned 2 tractors that had Perkins in them. A Massey Ferguson many years ago. That engine was maintenance free. Never done nothing to it. And we had a white 285 that had a Perkins in it. Again, maintenance free. Never done nothing to it. Really good engine. Easy on fuel. Started good in the winter time. So I'm beginning to think I like this little tractor. It did not have a loader on it. It was an open station as well. But I'm thinking, this tractor has potential. So I get up on it. First thing I see, the seat wouldn't adjust. No forward, no back, no up, no down. It's all froze up. Okay, no big issue. Buy them a dime a dozen. I go to start the tractor, and the battery was low. It just didn't have enough amperage to turn it over fast enough to make it hit. So the salesman goes and gets a jumper box, hooked to it, charged it for about 5 minutes. I noticed the tractor turns over probably, I'm going to guess, 12 to 14 times before it ever hit. So that means we got low compression. A little bit of blow by, so the tractor's going to have rings before long. If you're going to do rings, you might as well do the whole overhaul. The tractor only had 2,200 hours on it. So even though it wasn't beat up and banged up, and I could tell it had not been repainted. This is factory paint. You can tell one's been repainted. The paint was not in terrible shape. It looked really good for what it was. But the motor was probably going to have to be gone through. So anyway, I do drive the tractor around just because I'm curious. Again, do the same thing. Check the clutch, put it in road gear, bear down the brakes, ease the clutch pedal out. Clutch is tight, almost chokes the tractor down. Brakes are good. You can drag your wheels across this gravel parking lot if you just mash down on them. Lift arms went up and down good. Steering was good. No whining in the hydraulics. Nothing. I'm thinking, a little blow by. It's got several hours before I'm gonna have to get into this engine, especially for what I'll be using it for. So I'll pull back around, shut the tractor off, and remember, I haven't pulled the dipstick on this one yet. So I pull it, and boy was I shocked. This oil that was in this engine, first off, the oil is about 3/4 of an inch to an inch above the full mark, and it was just as creamy looking as milk. That oil pan was full of water. So I walked over to the salesman and showed him this dipstick. I said, "Were you aware of this?" And he said, "No." Now, I'm not saying this guy traded for this tractor, but he said, "We just traded for this tractor about a week ago. Haven't had a chance to really look it over good." The same as I drove over there to look at a tractor, that's going to be something I do. There's certain things that you look at when you buy a tractor. You check the clutch, see if it slips. You check the brakes. You definitely pull the dipstick and check the engine oil. They traded for this tractor, and evidently whoever traded for it didn't do any of that. So now, again, at that point, I'm done with this tractor. Now, he's still trying to throw a pitch out there, and he's telling me, "Hey, let me run some numbers for you. I'll call you Monday, and we'll make the price compatible enough for the things that you have found wrong with these tractors." No, ain't happening. I'm not going out to buy a tractor to have to spend $2,000 or $3,000 on it to get it field ready. I want to buy a tractor that is ready to go to the field today. But with that thought in mind, I don't have to have a tractor today. I don't have to have a tractor next week or next month. I don't need one until probably April. So I've got time to look. I'm fixing to pull into a lot right now and look at some more tractors. This is a different dealership I drove by whenever I was coming up. So I'm going to stop the film for now, and if I see something on this lot that I like, then I'll get the camera back out and I'll show you what they've got.